just kind of going off memory a little bit, which sometimes is dangerous. But I do know that we were really sharp in that first 20 minutes.
Quick follow-up. You've got kind of a strange opening schedule, 3 games in 6 days, 1 on the road, and then a week off. So I assume you've learned a lot about your team in this week. There's no military action, build on success. What have you learned about this team that you can build on, and what do you need to work on in practice this week that hasn't been as good?
Well, really, we have stretches where we look really good on offense and on defense, and the goal is to elongate those stretches as much as you can throughout the course of the game. So what I've learned in the first 3 games is we have a lot of depth. I think we have different players that are going to give us contributions every single night. And so that's good to have as a coach, to know that there's people coming off your bench that can impact the game in a positive way. But we've just got to find a way to play better longer, execute better more, or execute better longer. And that's what we'll be seeking this week in practice.
When you're integrating this many new players who haven't played together, do they learn to mesh better playing in games or working in practice, or do they need both?
Well, the goal is to have the pace of a game in practice. The goal is to have the standard be high, so that regardless of whether it's a game or practice, that there's growth involved. And so that's something that we emphasize. Some days we fall short of it, but we emphasize in practice playing at that pace. And so the way you learn how to play with somebody faster is for both players to play as hard as they can. Because if you don't do that in practice, and then you're next to the player in the game and they're all of a sudden playing as hard as they can, well, you've never really learned how to play with that version of them. You learned how to play with the practice version of them. And so we can't have different versions of our players. We got to have one version, which is going hard all the time. So to answer your question, I think you can learn a lot and get a lot of continuity from practice. And then I think the game just solidifies the chemistry.
Hey, Coach. So Duke had 68 points off the bench leading up to today's game. We saw how strong of an impact the bench players had even today with Dave Wilson's vision and Goodchild's three-pointers. So could you speak on how big of a role the bench players play for this team and the expectations going forward against tougher matchups like Louisville or Virginia Tech?
Yeah, I think our bench is going to play a critical role all season long for us. I think the depth of the conference, not just those 2 teams, but the depth of our whole conference, it's really good teams. And you have to play 18 of them, and you better have some depth to your team to be able to safeguard you when certain players maybe don't play well on a certain night. You would love every player to play great every night, but we know that doesn't happen. So that's where the depth becomes very critical for us, to have different players to go to. It's nice to have different players that are weapons off the bench on the offensive end. And we feel like we have a lot of players who could score double figures in a game. And we've already had a number of different players score double figures in the game. So I think our depth is very important. We're going to rely on it a lot. And hopefully through ACC play, it continues to be a strength of our team.
And one more question. So it seems like a huge trend for this team over the course of 3 games has been the three-point shooting. So back during the entrance interviews, you said that if there's something that works and it is something you'd like to see, you would like to continue running it. So will we be seeing a lot more set plays centered around three-point shooting, or do you anticipate the three-pointers just naturally coming from the flow of the game?
Yeah, we just teach our players that if they get a great shot, take it, and have confidence in taking it. And a lot of times the shots that we get are dictated by the defense, meaning they might help on a certain player, or they might react a certain way with how they're guarding a ball screen or how they're guarding DHO, and then we make what we hope is, as coaches, a proper read off of that and get a good look. So the lion's share of our three-point shots, I think, have been good looks for us. We haven't made, if I'm going to be picky, we haven't made as many as I think we should with the number of open ones we're getting, because I think we're getting some high-quality ones, and we haven't shot it as a team as well as I thought we would. But that's a part of it on offense. Some nights you shoot it better than others. So we're going to stick with taking good looks, and if we get good looks, then I'm okay with them firing away. Great. Thank y'all.